There are specific questions every trauma survivor should ask if one is determined to emotionally rehabilitate and get life back on track. I'm going to ask two of the most important ones, which will kick things into gear. Don't live like you've been defeated. No matter what it is you've been through, no matter how lonely you feel, it's not too late to get back up. You've either experienced something traumatic or you know someone who has. I have too, and we have scars from those experiences. Surviving was instinct. It took courage, it took faith, and for some it took a whole community. But it was only the beginning of the journey. Now that it's over, we've got to adapt to the aftermath and learn to thrive again. I'm going to ask you two fundamental questions. If you can answer both with detail, even better if you can answer them with passion, then you're well on your way. If you cannot, then my friend, your future depends on you figuring these out. The first question is about the trauma itself. The second is about the aftermath. First question, what happened to you? What happened? It's basic enough, right? But can you answer this candidly? Can you look at the past and recount what transpired? If not, there's probably a reason for that, and it's worth getting to the bottom of it. Maybe you're in denial. Maybe it still hurts too much to divulge what it is you experienced, or you're afraid to. Perhaps you can't remember what happened, or you're perplexed by it. Naturally, you'd want to jump ahead, skip this part of recuperating, and land in a glorious new chapter of life. But the whole story won't be complete without finding peace with where you've been and with what you've been through. Something happened that hurt you. Acknowledge the pain that you were dealt as well as the source of that pain. It's the only way to relinquish and reconcile it. Begin to tell your story. Can you tell what happened with a straight face? Can you say it without crying? Can you say it while crying? Can you say what happened with valor, with tenacity, with fearlessness, or even delight? Can you say what happened to you at all? I've told my story now hundreds of times to thousands of people. At this point, I don't know how many have heard it around the globe. But it was not always so easy to say what happened to me. For too long, I tried to suppress my story. I thought if I could just bury my trauma and pretend it doesn't affect me, then someday it probably won't. But that's not quite how this works. Do you know why? Because our emotions are wrapped up in our experiences and the things we value most. When those things get damaged or broken, emotions manifest and they find a way out. It's best if we learn to channel them out strategically. I recommend writing your story out in detail. Pour those emotions out in the forms of ink and tears if necessary. Afterwards, begin sharing your story with people around you and then branch out from there. Gradually, something remarkable is going to happen. The pain you previously felt will be replaced with joy and gratitude. The more frequently you recite your story, the more confident you'll get and the better the story will sound, even to your own ears. What happened to me? I can answer that. I was a young kid who randomly got a severe case of a common disease. I almost died from that disease. It left me facially disfigured. I grew up with low self-esteem and very poor self-image. But over the years, I learned to pick myself up and manage through those challenges. I eventually learned how to leverage my story to inspire and benefit other people. When I finally did that, the more fulfilled my life became. Next question. This one is regarding the aftermath. Can you describe your scars in detail? Scars are the consequences of trauma, and most of the time they are permanent. Can you describe your scars? Describe their type, placement, shape, size, origin, and other characteristics you can think of, whether they're physical scars or not. Physical scars can be described in a physical way. My example would be these red keloid scars on my face, arms, and chest. They are visible, they are tangible, They are obvious. Invisible scars are borne by most everybody. They are just as real and can be as palpable and as evident as any external ones. We describe those scars in the forms of their emotional and psychological impact. Scars of human loss, death, for example, are the wounds of relational tragedy. Scars of that kind are carved into the heart and ingrained into the mind and memory of the living. All types of scars can be overwhelming and tremendously heavy to carry. Often they are much heavier for the individual than they appear to be to the onlooking crowd. The task at hand for each of us is to overcome life and all of its trials, to endure all things and to not give up no matter what. If there's anything I've learned, it's that carrying my burdens is not enough for me to conquer them. I must study them, analyze them, and comprehend what it is I went through and what it is I'm carrying now. The more we understand our traumas, the more we will effectively heal from them, and the more weightless the scars will become. Can you effectively tell me what traumatic thing happened to you? Can you describe your scars, the aftermath of that trauma in detail? If so, then you are well on your way to making a full recovery. But there is so much more to learn. In upcoming videos, I will illustrate the next steps to take after these two basic questions are answered.